hopefully more people will come as we start. Okay, wonderful. So here's a very pretty story, and see if you can appreciate what this story is about. I'm going to ask you like where you see, what am I leading to with this story? Okay, so Rabbi Freifeld is a Rosh Yeshiva. I think he was is a Rosh Yeshiva of Shar Yashuv, I think, in New York. So there was a boy who wanted to get into the yeshiva. So he was, you know, they do interviews, right? Like just like when you're going to interview for any college or any high school. So Rabbi Freifeld said, so, you know, why are you coming here? Is it because you want to learn? So the boy said, no. Okay, that's, I wouldn't call that the top answer. You know? He said, no, what I want is I want to learn. Okay, what does that mean?
Beautiful answer.
I also thought so.
He is honest, he's emet, he speaks the truth.
He spoke the truth. So the same thing when we're studying all of this Amuna, okay, so the reality is some days you feel it really strongly and some days you're like, I can't believe there is a God if these things can happen, right? Or I'm just not even interested about thinking about it. I'm like just so out of it. So why are we studying this every week? Like, you know, this is why, because what do we want? We really want Amuna. That's the bottom line of everything that's going on here, is that's what we really, really want. Right? Amuna is that foundation. Amuna is what will change your life. That's the truth. Amuna is that sense of I have purpose in the world and it's all okay. I love my life, no matter what's going on, because I am connected to the source and I believe there is a source. I believe there is purpose. So these are very important realities. So that's why we have to keep studying it. And that's what you have to say to Hashem. You know, the days that you're kind of like, you have to stop and say, you know what, Hashem, I want Amuna. Know that. Know the days that I'm having those, I don't know what's going on kind of feeling. Know that the bottom line is, I'm just like that student who went to Rabbi Freifeld. I'm honest. I can't tell you I'm always on, but no, I always want to be on. That's this concept of always being that work in progress, okay? So now it's very, very interesting. I'm just always thinking about Amuna and people and what's going on. And, you know, it's funny, Sue, I think, is on the line. And Sue today, she was telling me that, you know, if you Google, you know, how many people believe in God or the force or whatever it is, they'll say more than 80% of the population does believe in God. So how is it, or believes in something is out there bigger than us, you know, the universe, whatever they like to call it, the force, you know, there is something out there guiding the world. There's something out there that I can reach out to and is willing to try to help me. So has anybody ever read, I love Dr. Seuss. Anybody here ever read Dr. Seuss books? I love them. I don't know about you guys. I love them. Okay, they're very, very deep. So there's a Dr. Seuss book called Are You My Mother? Has anybody ever read it? Are you my mother? It's really cute. So what's it about? It's like this little tiny bird. He's like a bird in the nest, right? And he pops out of, I'm sure he's in the egg. He pops out of his egg, right? And his mother flew off to get something and he falls out of the nest, okay? And now he's spending...
An owl.
Yeah, it's a bird and he's falls out of the nest and he's like going all over trying to find out like, who is his mother? Okay, like he asks a dog, you know, are you my mother? And he asks a cow, are you my mother? And then this like big machine, like a puffer, he calls it the puff. And he's like speaking to this huge machine, are you my mother? And then the big machine lifts him up and puts him back into the nest. And his mother flies in and he goes, oh, you're my mother. Okay, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is that every creation is looking for its creator. Okay, every creation is looking for it. All right, we don't just appear out of nowhere. We have come from somewhere, right? So there is this journey and this seeking of truth. We're all on a quest to find that mother. And I just need someone to mute, please. I'm not sure who it is, but someone needs to mute. We're all on this quest to find that mother, to find that connection, to find that, you know, touch with the creator. We all are, there's no doubt about it. And sometimes we get distracted on the journey. That's all that happens. We get distracted. Sometimes the journey itself wakes you up. That's what they mean by there's no atheist in a foxhole. What does that mean? What does no atheist in a foxhole mean?
When you're really in need, you're going to believe in whoever's going to help you, and that's God.
Bang on. Okay, so Jody's 100% right. Okay, when you're really desperate, that's, help, there's a God. All the atheists, there's a famous song that what's his name wrote, Rottenberg. I forgot his first name. It's all
A.B. Rottenberg.
Yeah, A.B. Rottenberg, and it's on this plane, and the plane's about to go down, and there's 3 different atheists. One's a Jewish atheist, one's a Muslim atheist, one's a Christian atheist. Like, in other words, fills that stereotype of the Jew, the Muslim, and the Christian. And they're like, no, there's no God. That was all bunk. That was what our parents believed. That was all garbage. And then the plane is about to crash, and you hear the Jew go, Hashem, and you hear the Christian go, Yoshka, and you hear the Muslim go, Allah, Allah, everybody, somebody help us. There is a reality here. So what happens? Like, it's really, really interesting, because if you really stop and think about it, when you're really a believing Jew, okay, when we really have Amuna, how do we look at Hashem, and how do we look at him speaking to us? A real living Yid like us, if we're really working on it, we really want Amuna, then we really have to keep our eyes and our ears open 24/7. Because I'm trying to tell you something very important. God is talking to you all day. And we really need to heighten our filters, do you know what I mean? And to be able to hear it. So I'm asking you now, and people can unmute, like, tell me how you see God speaking to you. How does God talk to you? It's not like, I wish we were on the level of prophets, where God would go, okay, it's not as direct, but it's really not that indirect either. And that's why I think we have to appreciate it. So what does it mean when I say to you, God talks to you every day? Okay, so I see a few people. So Rachel, maybe you'll put your hand up first, and then we'll see what else. Okay, so Rachel, go ahead, please unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, thank you. So this is so interesting for me, because I wonder, I see signs all the time. I always say, like, you always feel God's loving hand guiding you. And I'm a very hashgacha practice, like, all the time. And in times of really, please God, show me a sign, it just pops up where is God, wherever you let God in. So
oh, very nicely said.
A quick example is this morning I was talking to Hannah, and she was telling me my daughter's in Israel, this really good news about her husband's yeshiva. And I said, okay, well, God willing, when we have some extra money, we're going to put some money towards the library. That was a beautiful. She's like, I can't believe it. Well, her husband was just saying 2 seconds ago that we need a little donation to get the library going. And you call money. Like, and it's like, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. And then there's been times when it's been like maybe someone's in the hospital and you're praying and hoping that I see a sign, my mother's favorite number, and then that's the number of the hospital bed, and that's it. I know everything is good. And I get a lot of, and my kids know this about me and they see it, but I wonder, is that Amuna, or is that like, or is it more
Amuna, because nothing in the world is a coincidence, and that's what you have to appreciate. So it's not that you walked in and of all the numbers in the whole world, what luck? There's no such thing. Okay, so what is that? It's seeing that Hashem loves you. You're speaking to him, and he sends you these little little hugs and little kisses, and they're very important to understand. So that is one way, 100%, that God is talking to you. I'll tell you another way. Everything that just happens, okay? Someone speaks to you this way, someone speaks to you that way, you get this kind of email, you get that kind of email. These are all coming from Hashem. In other words, you have to realize your flat tire, your, surprise, coupon for a free dinner at Cafe Elie in the mailbox are all coming from Hashem, and it's all talking to you. What's it talking to you about? What's a flat tire saying to you? What's the coupon in the mail saying to you? Like, what are these things translating to? What are they saying?
They're saying something about you, that you have to do something about yourself.
Okay,
And
perfect. That's
this is
exactly right. They're giving you an opportunity, and that's what we have to understand.
live up to your potential.
Yes. Okay. So everything is an opportunity. Everything in life is an opportunity. Why is the world, they don't want, why do people not want, I'm going to be honest, God in their life? Like, there's so much evidence that there is a God. The Jewish people are the greatest evidence. And there's a good percentage of us who really don't want to be connected. Like, we're not, there's really, the funniest thing is that if people had to ask you, how do you know there is a God? You would say the existence of the Jewish people, the existence of the state of Israel. They're all miraculous. We really, 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 really shouldn't have been here. And I'm going to be honest, we really should not have recovered from the Holocaust. I'm being honest. All of that was the greatest trauma that probably hit us, right, in centuries. I mean, it really hit us. It was a really disgusting, you know what I mean? Like, in a modern society, like, sometimes you think, okay, the Cossacks and these people, well, they were barbarian. You know what I mean? You're talking like, right, 6 million people wiped. Like, just think about it, right? And then after that, like, who would want to ever start the Jewish people again? Like, what for? So they could see another 6 million wiped? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? If you really think about it, like, our existence is totally miraculous on every single plane, right? But there's this real urge for people not to connect. Where is that coming from?
The need to feel in control.
Okay, so one, the need to feel in control, 100%. Any other ideas?
Responsibility.
Nobody wants to, I really agree. Okay, so Karen, you're right. When you want to be in control, like, I can handle it, like, you want this independent feeling, right? And that's, we really fight for our independence, like, that's when you're looking at the teenager and you go, what the heck is wrong with that kid? You know what I mean? They used to be so loving and sweet and adorable, and they were so happy when I helped them and did things for them. Now they're like, don't help me. Don't tell me what to do, right? There's this need for man to feel very independent. So you don't like this dependency on God. You don't like that he should boss you around and he should give you responsibility and he should tell you what to do because you think you are smart enough. I don't need your favors, But that is not what believing in God is about. That's what I think is, we lose it, okay? Even when you believe in God, you are independent till the last minute. God does not force anything on us. He wants you to come to this idea because you understand it's the right thing, not because he dictates it to you. And really, it's not a concept of independent and dependent, because even when you're connected to Hashem, you're still independent. You're asking him to be a partner with you, but you will always have free will choice to continue the relationship or to discontinue. Do you see what I'm saying? That makes you very independent. And that independence, when you make the right decision, fills you with incredible pleasure. It's like such a funny irony in the way that people look at their relationship with God. Like, they think if they're going to relate to God, all they're going to have is a headache, and then they're trapped for the rest of their life. And Hashem says, you're never going to be trapped with me. I'll always be there for you. You choose to opt out. That's your issue and your consequences. That's just because your decisions matter. So it's your issue and your consequences. But when I call on you every day, I'm in your life and I show my face and I give you a hug and I give you a kiss and I give you a challenge and I give you a test and I give you a pat on the back. These are your independent realities to relate back to me. Does everybody understand what I just said? Yeah, we're all good? Okay. So this is what we have to understand. So there's going to be, like we said, opportunity all day long. Are you going to do the right thing that brings you closer to Hashem, or are you going to do something that pulls you away from Hashem? But he's talking to you when he gives you each experience. So I actually wanted to do this class in memory of Moshe Aaron ben Leah, and it should be an Aliyah to his neshama. And I went on Zoom. Have you ever gone? I never did a Zoom Shiva before. Like, some people, when people passed away, I wouldn't go on the Zoom Shiva. I just personally called them on the phone. But this time I went for a Zoom Shiva. Was my first experience. Okay. This is a really tragic story. This is a boy who passed away, and he was 27, very, very young boy. It was a friend of mine, like a friend of mine's son, and I did carpool with him when he was very young, and one of my sons was very, very good friends with him. Like, he was really, really heartbroken when he heard that he passed away. So it was interesting to be sitting there, and this is a family that's just full of gratitude. So there were a lot of people on the Zoom that had helped them with their son. So the son had mental illness. He had an incredible addiction, and he ended up addicted to really, 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 the killers, heroin. So heroin is probably one of the greatest killers. And unfortunately, they spike the drugs today. Do you know what I mean? They spike the drugs, and whatever it was spiked with, they killed him, which was a terrible tragedy. And he was a great kid, like a really good boy. One of these like really innocent sweeties, that's the kind of kid he was. And unfortunately, I don't know how this episode, how his life just tumbled. I don't know. And I don't need to know. And I guess we all don't know. We just need to know that he was a really good neshama. And it was really a sad, sad, tragic ending. So when I was there, they were thanking people who were really trying to help them, like, would have him over for Shabbos. And they spoke to this one man in particular to really, really thank him. He's like a businessman, just a smart businessman, nice guy who just has a heart. And he goes out of his way when he hears of any kind of kid who has this kind of trouble. He tries to help them. He had a little bit of trouble with one of his own children, and he felt like that was Hashem's message to me. Like, his kid recovered, but he felt he owed back to the world. And that's someone very special. Do you know what I'm saying? And it was very interesting the way they said, we thank you so much, and how much you did for our son, and you had him for Shabbos, and you would take him on trips, and he loved you, and he really needed you. And this guy was bawling. He's crying like, I wish I could have done more. And I was out of town when this terrible accident happened. And it was interesting the way he put it. He said, these kids, there's an expression, you have a monkey on your back. Has anybody ever heard that expression? He said, these kids have a gorilla on their back. And he said, we all have to think twice. When you hear about someone who's in tsar, like someone who's in pain, and you hear about it, then that's Hashem's voice calling you. And I think that's important for us too, because, it woke me up a little bit, okay? So that's a voice. Hashem is telling you something when you hear this stuff. Like he said, like a lot of people just go, oh, that's so sad. Like we hear, people tell you, oh, so-and-so is sick, or, oh, this and this happened. Like, really, if you heard it, then Hashem is saying, hello, I'm part of your day. Like, we have to think now. And that's important for us. Now, we have to think carefully, and we have to think uniquely, and we have to think, what does it mean to me? So let's say I don't have the time to really work with this kid. It just isn't for me. So what could I do? Like when I did hear he was getting to being not really well, right? So what did we do? We put him on the Tehillim list. You know what I mean? You could daven for him. The same thing, all these tzedakahs, you get these millions of tzedakahs every day, right? Do you ever have today's kindness? Like every day I'm getting these tzedakahs. Okay, so what could you do? Like in other words, Hashem is saying, I am sending this to you. You can't give money to every single person. Like, I don't know, maybe some of you can. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm saying, okay, so let's say we can't. So what can we do? Because we have to have Amuna. If Hashem sent this to us, then he wants something, right? He wants something that he sent this message. This is the service that are out there. So I have a chance here. Because what this man said, which blew me, and Esther, you have to help me because I can't remember the Hebrew 100%, okay? He said, we are mishtadef in your tsar, or we are
Mishtatef.
Yes, mishtatef. So which means we are involved.
Yes, we're
We're involved. We're connected. And I thought that was so beautiful. That's the way he started it. Like they're going, oh, thank you, Mr. So-and-so, what you did for my son. And he said, he's crying, he's bawling. And he says, no, you don't understand. We are connected in your pain. It's not that I'm outside of your pain. I'm connected in your pain. This is Am Yisroel, you know? This is one family. It's true I never met you. It's true I don't daven in your shul. It's true I don't even know you. But I once had this pain with one of my children. So I'm not going to walk away and go, whoa, thank you, Hashem. Whew, I got off the hook. The gorilla got off my son's back. Good luck to everybody else. I'm out of here. Like, just that word, I'm mitzvah. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really something. So what's going on in our day, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I'm saying, you know, all over, like people you meet, your own pain, you're this, you're that, you have to be involved in it. You are meant to really hear it and to really see it, and then to do what you can. I'm not saying, oh, somebody calls you for tzedakah, you have to give them. No, you might be able to give them a drink. You might be able to give them a good word. You might be able to give them a bracha, and you might be able to give them money. I can't say we can do every little thing. But if we're hearing this one dies, this one dies, this one dies, it's a wake-up call. Number one, oy baruch dain emes. You know, blessed are you, the truthful judge. God, I can't say I understand it, but baruch dain emes, only you can understand this. You know, I really feel for this family. Hashem, may this family not have any tzuris again. Do we even, and you don't even necessarily have to know them. Just see what's going on. And then you can stop if you have Amuna and Hashem sent you that message. Thank you, Hashem. You know, I took my health completely for granted today. I took my whole life for granted today, till you mentioned that this person, Nebuch, died of a heart attack on the spot, 52, until you said it. I didn't even chap. I'm 10 years older. Thank you for every one of those years. I don't always want to talk about my birthday, but thank you. Like suddenly, okay. So this is what it means. Like, if we really have Amuna, then you have to understand everything that's going on is coming from Hashem. That's a person with Amuna. And every moment that's happening, you need to know what this opportunity is. It's not just, oh, great, yes, okay, let me see. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, I gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, you want to sort of like, you got to be in it to understand it. And that's what we were talking about in the Parsha. Like, what did Yisro do that he deserved to get a Parsha? Okay, that's like not a simple thing, okay? What did we say he did? We said he really listened. He was a seeker of truth. He understood he was here for a purpose. He was looking to find that purpose, right? Right? And he listened. The whole world saw all these amazing miracles. You're seeing miracles every day. You're seeing these little taps, exactly what you were saying, what Rachel was saying. How many times? Cyril today, she got a present from somebody. She got these beautiful towels. I go upstairs to bring her the beautiful towels. She says to me, I can't believe this. I go, what do you mean you can't believe this? I just said to myself yesterday, please Hashem, if I had to get a gift, I have to get towels. If nobody gets me towels, I'm getting on the phone and I'm calling Costco, whatever it is, I'm ordering them. Do you know what I'm saying? All these little, in Yiddish, it seems gunish megunish, nothing with nothing. It's not these big, I won the lottery for $1 million. It's all day. You got to tune in, because all day Hashem is calling you. And he's saying, you know what? Either we're going to connect or we're going to disconnect. Either you're going to hear my message or you're not, but it's not up to me. You are the independent individual who can hear that message or choose to not hear the message. I can't do anything about it. I can just initiate my conversation. Do you see what I'm saying? And through this conversation and through this connection, you can really achieve what you had to achieve today, right? And it's big in my eyes. It doesn't have to be big in the world's eyes. It has to be big in Hashem's eyes, right? So I just think it's like such like a way to be looking, right? And to be thinking. And it was very funny, the man who was crying, who did so much for my friend's son, it's very interesting what he said. He said, people are making big mistakes. Like, it's just a smile. It's just a hello. And when you see people who are in service, like, you know what I mean? And you want to cross the street. Like, a lot of times, right? People got service and you want to cross the street because you don't know what to say. And people will tell you who have those service that was the, like, hardest part is that they felt very alone and people felt so uncomfortable that they wouldn't approach them. So then it makes them feel even more, do you know what I mean? Different and estranged. So it's just like an important thing. And it's not always easy to be so sensitive. It takes maturity and it takes a will to want to be that way, right? And to try to work on it. I know it's not so simple, right? So we have to understand like this. You're going to wake up every day and you're going to be challenged with your Amuna. So you're going to be challenged with Amuna from the outside and challenged with Amuna from the inside. What do I mean by challenged from Amuna from the inside?
Doubt yourself.
Say that again. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to have a Yitzaharas. It's kind of, that's so stupid. That wasn't meant for you. What do you care? Just get out of here. Just move forward, 100%. That's why we have in Tefillah, like we actually say prayer in the morning in Shachris, when you say these Yehi Ratzon after the 15 morning blessings, you actually ask Hashem, like, help, okay? Because Yitzhahara is really big, all right? I need your help. I need your help in subjugating my Yitzhahara to do your will. Like, it's not easy. So hold on a second. Sorry. Okay, guys, let us know how to shut this thing. Okay. I just don't know how. Okay. I end up putting it in my drawer. Okay. That's the only way I can keep it from ringing. Okay. So anyway, so this is what I mean. We have to appreciate that it's a test. It's a game. It's a fight. So you're fighting from the inside because the Yitzhahara is always whispering in your ears. That's the whole concept. Then you're fighting from the outside. What's the outside? That whole Amalek. That's why Hashem says at the end, you are destroying Amalek. You're destroying it because Amalek lives with that concept that there is absolutely no God and everything that happens is a coincidence. So let's say, you were talking to someone who doesn't believe in God and Rachel tells over the story and you won't believe it. It was the number my mother loves and that's the number of her room. And they go, oh, so cute. What a coincidence. And I want you to know how hard they fight the non-Jewish world. I was thinking about it, the last speech that Trump made before he left office. Okay, so I was listening carefully, it really was. And it hit me how it's hard for them. Like, he goes, and I really wish, President Biden, lots of luck. God bless America. Lots of luck and God bless America are an oxymoron. Okay? If you really believe in God, then you don't wish anybody lots of luck. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, God's grace, God's this, God's that. So that's what it hit me later when I was really thinking about it. I don't know if they really trust in God. I don't even know if they really believe. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's a lip service or it's like some God up here. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, God bless America. When America gets into tsuris, maybe that's when we believe in God. But on a regular basis, lots of luck, buddy. Do you see what I'm saying? Does anybody know you get what I'm saying? And it's very much in our vernacular. Like, I don't know about you. You say it. Like you say to people, okay, lots of luck. Try to change it to lots of hatzlacha, because hatzlacha is coming, at least, you kind of feel like hatzlacha and bracha. That's like Hashem's blessings. But this lots of luck business, we've got to try our best because you don't realize it kind of influences you and you think it's luck. It's not luck. It's hashgacha pratis. It's divine intervention. It's not
But
luck.
it might have been his Yetzirah for goyim.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. So when I'm saying
his hardest,
exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. When you're battling inside, you're battling Amuna. So you're battling Amuna from the Yetzirah within you. So you're saying, please Hashem, I can't do it. And then listen to the culture that you live in. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean? The culture that you live in, it gives you this like, there could be a God, but the reality of your success is lots of luck, okay? Which is totally a godless reality. So you gotta put it together. So for us, that's what I'm trying to express. We have to realize it ain't no luck and it ain't no coincidence. Whatever is happening through my day is God whispering in my ear. That's all. So, my opportunity to do the right thing, my opportunity to do the wrong thing. So this was like a really cool story I heard from Rabbi David Ashir, okay? It's a true story. This guy on the job, he's working on the job, and his boss called him in and he said, I want you to tell me about so-and-so, like the guys who are working next to you. Like, I don't know, I don't trust what they're doing. Like, I want to hear the dirt. The guy goes, look, I don't know that much, and I don't want to talk badly about people. Like, I don't do that. It's called Lashon Hara. I don't do it. I don't talk badly about people. It's not my job to be spying on people and reporting and telling these things. The guy goes, really, it's not your job. Well, you're a real idiot. And from that day on, he made his life miserable. Okay, this boss made this worker's life miserable. Miserable. Okay, the guy needed the money. He couldn't change jobs. This is where he had to be. And he had to live in this really like very dreadful environment. Like he would always make fun of him, poke fun of him. Oh, it's Lashon Hara. Oh, you're not a gossip. Oh, yeah. Like he just make this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like him all day long. Okay, the guy said, okay, listen, it is what it is. Okay. 3 months later, the boss calls him in and he says, I got good news. The guy's like, what? You know what I mean? I got good news. I've been thinking about you all night. I am promoting you. Like, why the change of heart? Can I ask why the change of heart? So he says, yeah, I realize I go out of town a lot, right? And I got to speak to people in the office that I can trust, who don't talk too much, who won't tell any of the, the corporation secrets. And I finally figured out the only guy in this office that I could trust would be someone like you. And he promoted him. He made like this, got this huge raise, huge promotion, huge this, huge this. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? So in the Gemara, there's these stories, very, you know how the Gemaras are. They're true stories, but they're like, So Rabbi Akiva was one time walking and he sees this man who's like burnt, like literally looks burnt to the crisp, no clothes, running back and forth, all black charred. And he's like taking branches. Okay. So in the Gemara, it says that Rabbi Akiva said to the man, who are you? What's going on? So he said, oh, I'm not from the living. I'm in Gehenna. I'm in hell. I did some terrible things. And I'm so in hell that they make me collect the branches, to burn myself, like to suffer from Gehenna. So Rabbi Akiva, interesting. Okay, so Rabbi Akiva could be looking at this and say what? Okay, let's be Rabbi Akiva. Okay, this like
why am I the one who's meeting him? What have I done?
So that's exactly it. So okay, good for you. Okay, very good, Jody. So that's what Esther's thinking. That's what Rabbi Akiva is thinking. Okay, so now if he's thinking, what's the lesson for me? What should come out of his mouth? Like, what should he say to this guy?
How can I help you?
Yes. Okay, that's what comes to Rabbi Akiva. Like for most people, be like, I'm getting out of here. There's like some weirdo Gilgal here. Okay, But he says to the Gilgal. It's very interesting. He says to this man. He says to him, you have to understand, if I'm seeing you and you're here, there must be something that you have to do a tikkun on. There must be some kind of a correction that you can do that can get you out of this horrible circumstance. So the man says, the truth is, if you could get my son to say Kaddish for me, now you know how important it is to say Kaddish for someone. If you could get my son to say Kaddish for me, then you could get me out of Gehenna. So Rabbi Akiva, now imagine who Rabbi Akiva is, okay? Like everybody knows Rabbi Akiva is to the oral law who Moshe is to the Torah, okay? Rabbi Akiva is beyond, you know what I'm saying? So you know what he did? He goes to that son who was an Am Haaretz, didn't even know how to read the Aleph base, like was a nothing. This guy was a Russia. This man who was all burned, he was a Russia. He was not a good person. Never gave an education to his kid. He was really not a nice guy. Okay?
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Interestingly enough, that's what Rabbi Akiva was before he became Rabbi Akiva.
Very interesting. Yeah, good for you. Good for you that you didn't even notice that. Yay. Okay, so then what happens? He goes to this son, he teaches him the Aleph base, he does the whole 9 yards, and he says Kaddish, right? And then, this man appears to Rabbi Akiva and he says, how you had such compassion on me, Hashem should always have compassion on you. Like a beautiful story, okay? So the point of the story is this idea that you have to listen. Sometimes you're the only one getting the message. Certain things happen in your life that are very unique, bizarre. Nobody else went through that. Why you? And sometimes it's hard because sometimes Hashem kind of takes you apart. I remember once Rabbi Tauber was speaking, and he talked about this man who came to him. The guy was wealthy, good looking, good health, nice wife, good kids, like on top of the world. And then Hashem turned it upside down. And he came to Rabbi Tauber. He said, why would God do this? Like, my kids don't talk to me. I divorced my wife. I lost all my money. My health is down. I'm a wreck. I'm an emotional wreck. Why would God do this? And then Rabbi Tauber said to him, because he wants you to build yourself back up. You were missing something. You have to mitake. Now you got to start from the bottom up. It's just an interesting idea. So there was another story. These two rabbis. It was Rabbi... Hold on, because it's very good to really quote you the correct names and the correct people. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Okay, wait. Thank you for being patient. Okay, so two people, two of them. One was Rabbi Yochanan and one was Rabbi Elfa. Okay, so they were walking in the forest, and what happened? They were both very smart. They were big learners, right? But they just were running out of funds. So they decided, that's it. We can't learn anymore. We're both going to, go into the forest. We're going to look, maybe we'll become wood choppers. Maybe we'll become this one. We become this. We'll figure something else. And then Rabbi Yochanan hears a voice, and it's two angels speaking. And they say, these men deserve to die. Okay. Not because you want to get a job. So nobody think about this, okay? These men deserve to die. But we won't kill them because one of them is going to become a Rosh Yeshiva. Okay? So this Rabbi Yochanan turns to this Reb Alifa and he says to him, Reb Alifa, did you hear anything? And Reb Alifa says, no. So then Rabbi Yochanan turns to him and he says, I think I'm going back to the yeshiva now. So why did he go back? Because said one of them is going to be a Rosh Yeshiva. Obviously, it meant him because the other person didn't even hear the message at all. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just interesting. So sometimes you're in a room with people and you're listening to class and you go, wow, that really touched me. And other people go, I don't think it was so great. Okay, right? So what's going on here? That class is speaking to you. And often when you listen to a class, you got to be really careful because sometimes you listen to class, you go, oh, that's meant for my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law needs to hear that class. Okay. So Torah tells you, if you're in the class, could be your sister-in-law needs to hear it, but you do too, right? It's just an interesting idea for us to know, okay, how we should hear these messages. And I want to say something very beautiful so beautiful about the Torah. The Torah appreciates who you are and where you are and when you can hear the messages. If you're really in trauma, Hashem doesn't always expect you to hear these big, lofty Torah ideals. Sometimes people are really traumatized. They were really hit hard. And you're standing there going, oh, it's all beshared. And Hashem never gives you a test that you can't take. It's not the time. Okay? So when the Jewish people came out of Mitzrayim, it was a whole year of miracles and amazing stuff. And still Hashem didn't say, okay, here's the Torah, guys, take it right now. Because he realized that they still needed to grow. They still needed 50 days to what they call in Yiddish, tzizachkemin, to come to understand who they were. Because in their mind, even if you had 1 year of miracles, you had 210 years of slavery, what do you think you thought about? Okay, if you had to look at yourself, what would you really think? As much as you have this new confidence, it's very hard to maintain. So the Torah tells you, when a person is in a lot of trauma, that is not the time to try to play the Amuna game. Let them get into balance. Let them feel comfortable again. Let them feel part of the world again. And then we can start, you know what I mean? We can give them maybe little hints. But sometimes you can't give them anything. And sometimes this family was exceptional. Okay, they're all Emuna and Bitachon, and that's the way they dealt with the crisis they had with their kid. Do you know what I mean? So it was throughout the crisis. So when the crisis happened, they were already prepared. But for a lot of people, the crisis happens and they never were prepared. You can't put Amuna on them at that second. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's interesting. It's a beautiful story from the Satmar Rebbe. Okay, so Satmar Rebbe lost all of his millions of Hasidim and his family and his everything in the war and did not have it easy. Baruch Hashem, he was taken out before, you know what I mean? He really had to suffer. But he suffered enough and he understood his Hasidim. So when he came, to Williamsburg in New York, so now these guys are coming from the Holocaust. Okay, so he says, you know what? I'm going to have a Gemara shir. So all these, how many did he have? 6 or 7 people? Okay, 6 or 7 people who survived the Holocaust, all right? And they're sitting around the table. He tells them, everybody, open your Gemara to page whatever. And you know what he did the rest of the time? They opened it. He never taught them one word of Gemara. He sat there and said, so-and-so, tell me how you're feeling. Oy, do you need any money? Do you have a home? So-and-so, do you have clothes? So-and-so, do you have this? So please, let's just talk. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a Hasidic story. Let me tell you something to uplift you. That's what he did. And when he saw that they finally got over some of the trauma, then he said, okay, week after week after week, it was just a schmooze session until after many, many weeks, he said, okay, now we can open the Gemara. Let's look at a couple sentences. So this is another thing you have to realize, sometimes it isn't your turn for the other messages. Sometimes Hashem's message to you is take care of you. Take care of yourself. Sizach Kibben. Come to yourself right now. It's not this one got this. Sometimes, people will say, I can't hear it. I can't carry all this. So what are they entitled to do? To say, it's okay, not now. I don't want to hear all the bad news. For me right now, please. I'm just, you know what I mean? Barely making it. It wouldn't be good to put on more on me. And that's fine too. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Amuna is a very big reality. And every time that voice or that tap or that kiss or that hug comes from Hashem, you individually need to look at the story and see what you can do, right? Sometimes people can be the people. Some people can volunteer and say Tehillim every week and know that they're going to do it. And some people, I ask them, can you say the Tehillim? And they say, no. And guess what? For who they are, that's the answer. And are they bad? No, they're not bad. Okay, because they know what they can do. They know what that message is. They can say this. When you see something like that, you know what you could say? I wish I could. But right now, I know if I take it on, I won't keep to it. And I don't want you to be missing any of the Prakim and Tehillim. But I wish I could. Do you see? Okay, so you see where you're putting your Amuna, okay? Where you're putting your things in. Okay, so what do we have to see? We have to see, okay, you have to see that the Torah tells you that when you look at something, you have to take a second look. Okay, so if you see it in the Parsha in Beshalach, where it says, Vayar Yisrael es hayad hagadol, that the Jewish people saw the great hand, asher asa Hashem, that Hashem did b'Mitzrayim. Vayeru ha'am es Hashem v'yamin b'Hashem u'v'Moshe. So it says it twice. Because sometimes, something happens. So it's the same thing what we're talking about with hearing. You can hear the words, then you have to understand the words, and then you have to act. The same thing. You have to see something, then you have to look at it and really understand it, right? You're looking at something from the surface is not the same as deeper. You see this so much with Torah. And then once you understand it, what do you have to do? You have to act on it. That's a very important part. So here's what happened. At all of these things, Kriyas Yamsuf, right? We talked about it in the Shabbos class. There was no internet, okay? So how did Hashem make the entire world know that Kriyas Yamsuf took place? Every body of water split. Even the water that people were drinking in their glass. Okay, so wherever humanity lived, okay, there was no America, there was no, there's only a very, Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Middle East. There's a small amount of people in the world, and this is what they're witnessing, okay? Then it says that when the Torah was given, There was lightning and there was thunder. Hashem made the world quake. Like it was like, so what do you think everyone was doing? Okay, like imagine you're all in this huge, world that's shaking and there's noise and there's lightning. People are freaking out.
Like tsunami.
Yeah, like a tsunami across the world. So they're scared. So we had Moshe, who was the prophet for the non-Jewish world, Bilam, okay? So they all go running to Bilam. Oh my gosh, what's happening? God is bringing a flood. He's going to destroy the world. So what does Bilam say to them? He's not going to destroy the world. Don't worry about it. He promised. What's he doing? Hashem oz li'amo yitain. Hashem is giving incredible strength to his people. Okay? Isn't that interesting? Who is Hashem's people?
Yeah, the whole world.
The whole world. Hashem is giving. So they said, good. Hashem yivarech es amoy bashalom. So the goyim said, great. Let them have peace and let's get out of here. Like in other words, we don't want to have a connection to this creator. That's because they didn't look twice. All they looked at was like, ooh, the world is shaking, the all-powerful God, right? What's he doing? Well, he's giving the Torah to his people. What are you talking about? You're his people too. Wouldn't you want to be in on this? This is going to change the entire world. This God is the greatest force that was ever in existence. Don't you want to be part of it? But if you look at it just once, like, now that you told me I'm not drowning in the river, I'm out of here. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this is the problem. We are so like very, very superficial today. So superficial. That's why everything is breaking, right? Everything is breaking apart because we're just so superficial. Like we just can't seem to find the depth. People don't know what the depth of marriage means anymore, right? They don't. People are more divorced than married. Okay, like if you're gonna get like you get married today, you got to speak to somebody. You have to speak to them because you have to tell them. Any of your kids getting married, first thing, heads up. You have to say to them, look, it's more than 50% of people getting divorced. Tell me what you're going to do to make sure that that doesn't happen to you. Okay. And it's not about well, I know what I'll do. I'll save up lots of money. I'll buy a condo. I'll get us a nice car. That is not going to save your marriage. I'm going to tell you that right now. Right? Because all these people do that and 3 months later they're doing, okay, I'm going to live with them for 10 years so I know it's for sure. Like I have a good friend. She lived with her guy for 10 years. They bought a house together. They got married and what do you think happened? Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. So what's the Torah trying to tell you? It's trying to tell you you need to always be looking much more than on the surface. You're always getting opportunities. Hashem is always talking to you all day long with every event that happens in your life. And with every event, you have that choice. Do I get closer to Hashem? Do I connect through this event? Or do I move away from this event? That is the sum total of why every event is happening to you. And then you have to understand, I have to ask what's good for me, not what's good for the rest of the world, not this general brushstroke for everybody. There is no general brushstroke for everybody except one. What's good for you? Close to Hashem. How? On the way you can do it, according to your neshama, your circumstances, your reality, right? Okay, good. So now let me see what I wanted to tell you. Okay, we just want to look that I'm not missing anything. That was the Satmar part and the Rabbi Akiva part. Okay, so here's something I want to tell you. This is a special message for women, okay? And I really, really love it. And I heard it from Rabbi Shmuel Fari. Okay, this was like it's an amazing message. And it's funny because we're teaching Shmona Esrei. So in Shmona Esrei, remember we learned it last week. It was a very nice idea. So 4 beautiful adjectives to describe Hashem. So we said he was our Melech, right? King, superpower, king over us, makes the rules. We're the prince, we're the princess. Beautiful idea. Our Ozer, which is our helpmate, which we said, what is a woman called?
Conegdo.
Yes, beautiful. Conegdo. Okay, so now listen to what Rabbi Fari said, okay? We're going to have to gently explain this to our husbands, okay? I don't want you to go home and say, Gail Michalowicz said. Okay, so just like we said, Hashem is an Ozer, right? That means, like Hashem has many names. There's a feminine name for Hashem. Does anybody know what it is?
Shaddai.
No, that's not feminine. That's not feminine. What's the name? Shechina.
Oh.
Okay? So when we want to talk about Hashem, and his like the feminine side of Hashem, it's the Shekhinah.
Shekhinah is the wife of Hashem.
Yeah. So the Shekhinah, yes. So Shekhinah. So Shekhinah, where does the Shekhinah rest? What is it like? Where does the Shekhinah rest? Very famous, and we don't have it anymore. So sad.
That's a
Beit
Migdash.
HaMikdash. Okay, what's the Beit HaMikdash today?
Our home.
Our home. Who is the Kohen Gadol in that Beit HaMikdash?
We are the women.
The women. Okay, so you have to appreciate, like, the Kohen Gadol's life is very much like ours. You know, it was like to preserve the Jewish people, educate the Jewish people, cook and clean. And being honest, that's what they did. Like it's not a glamorous, and they weren't paid for it, just like we really aren't. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's very, very interesting idea. Okay, so we are like that. We bring the Shekhinah into the home. So we're kind of the mouthpiece of the Shekhinah. And the way Hashem is an Ozer, we are the Ozer Conegdo. Just like Hashem is an Ozer Conegdo, right? Like he's your helpmate, but he can oppose you. Like he can give you more challenges, right? So it's a very beautiful thing that he said, that a husband should be very careful to listen to his wife. Because she is that Ozer Conegdo. She is speaking from the Shekhinah's reality. So, you know, like sometimes your husband comes home with these ideas and, he, you know, like crazy ideas, like, oh, I want to invest in this and I want to do this and and you're like the wife and you feel bad about it, but you say, you know what, honey, I don't think that's a great idea. And he goes, why? You're such a big investor? You say, no, my Bina Yisera. I have like an intuitive understanding. It's a gift from Hashem. And I'm just telling you, I don't think it's a great idea. So it's so funny. So when he gets really like, you know, itchy witchy, the point is, it's like the Shekhinah speaking to him. I'm not joking, because you're not doing it for your own grandiose, you know what I mean? I'm not talking when you talk, you know, because I want to prove my point and, you know, I got to show you I can one up you. No, when you really speak from the heart, you know, and you're really worried and concerned about the spiritual welfare of your family, and you say to your husband, you know what, I don't know if that's such a good school for our kids. I need to think about, I don't know if moving schools right now is a good idea. I don't know if we should send our son out of town. I don't know if we, do you know what I mean? This is that Ezer Conegdo, and it's his reality to appreciate that when you're speaking, it's not just stam, it's also very bashert. And that you share this ability to be this Ezer. And it was very funny. I like this. I just want to read this one line that he wrote. I actually printed it because I liked it. And he said like this, the Eshes Chayil, the wife, is the voice of the Shekhinah. And if the wife is giving you a hard time, then you've been giving Hashem a hard time. Okay. I thought that was so beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to end with this idea, and then we're going to end with this idea. So I thought for a minute, Sandy, we're doing something, but we don't, right? Sunday, we don't make Sandy. Sandy gets a day off. Okay, beautiful. All right. So here's the idea and how careful we have to be. When it comes to this idea, I'm telling you that with the Amuna, that, you know, Hashem is talking to you. It's about you. Open your ears, like listen and understand and do something. See and see deeper and do something, okay? So the story goes like this in the city. Okay, there was a man, you know, in Judaism, you're not allowed to lend money for, does anybody know? Interest. Okay,
Right.
you're not supposed to lend money for interest. Okay, it's really not a great way to work, and you're not supposed to do it. You know, to a non-Jew, maybe it's a different story, but to a Jew, you're not supposed to lend to your fellow Jew money in interest. Okay, so there was this little town, and this guy was lending money that way. Okay, and he was really like taking from people, like they were really destitute. It was really, really hard, but it was the only way that he would give them money, another Jewish guy. So now he used to lend it at 10%, and now he was lending it at 15%. So it was getting so unbearable for people in the town that they went to the rabbi. They said, Rabbi, we need your help. Like maybe you could talk to him. Maybe something, he'd hear you. Maybe he'd listen. So the rabbi goes, listen, I need the right opportunity. This is not a simple fellow here. You know, he likes to believe what he wants to believe. He sees what he wants to see. He hears what he wants to hear, right? So it's not so easy. I'm going to wait for the right time. Okay, so then one of the big Gvirim, one of the very wealthy people in this little town passed away. So now the rabbi has a chance to do the eulogy. So he goes, oh, okay, now I'm gonna get this one. So everybody comes, including the man who lends the money. So he's talks about this guy, he's such a wonderful guy, and his money, what's his money worth? What's his money? The money is going to be left behind. What matters is the quality person that he is. What matters is the kindness that he did. You know, Mr. Goldman was such a beautiful man. His money he didn't care about. He cared only about other people. He was such a good guy. Okay, and as he's speaking, he's watching this moneylender, right? And the moneylender's face is like, really into it. His eyes are popping, his mouth, oh, wow, wow. And finishes the speech, okay? And everybody's leaving the funeral. And this moneylender runs over to the rabbi, oh, what a speech. From all the years I heard you speak, I never heard you speak so smart like you spoke this time. This was incredible. So the rabbi goes, really? You understood the message? Sure, I understood the message. All those people who complain that I charge 15%, what do they care so much about their money? Okay? Like, what's the big deal? They're not taking their money with them.
Oh, boy.
So, okay, it's like, it's a funny story. It's a funny story, but the reality is, right? You have to be able to listen. So someone sent me this idea because, sometimes, we have to understand, every day, what does Hashem want from us? He wants us to pray. You have to have Amuna that your prayer works. And sometimes it's not so easy to have that Amuna because we don't see it necessarily turning out the way we want it to. So someone sent me a beautiful video that this man made. It was a true story. He himself got COVID. His name was Elie, and not an old man, young guy. I think he was 40? He doesn't even look like he was 40. Okay, 40 years old. He was one of the volunteers for Hatzalah. Okay, so there's something called the United Hatzalah of Israel. So it was a beautiful video. And he was
started the Hatzalah. I think he was one of the founders.
Maybe he was.
Founder.
Yeah, he was.
He was the founder.
Okay.
He had seen a terrorism. Yeah.
So
as a little boy, he saw a terrorism. I saw a terrible a bus being blown up, and from that moment he said, I want to be able to save one life, and the story goes on and on.
That's a beautiful story. So now when you even think about that, that's the perfect idea. He was shared for him to see it.
He was very sick.
He was very sick, so sick that they intubated him, and not only they put him into a coma. Okay, so before he was put into that coma, he looked up at the doctors and the nurses. Besides all the Jewish world, you know what I mean, that's always davening for all these people. He asked his doctors and nurses. So one doctor said to him, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in prayer. So he said, then can you do an act of kindness for me? And then the nurses and doctors and other people, they agreed. And he was in a coma, he said, for almost 4 weeks. And then he woke up perfectly fine. And he said when he woke up, the doctors were crying, nurses were crying. And one doctor said to him, I never believed in this thing called prayer, but I prayed for you every day. Do you know what I mean? And so and so he said he left it out there for all of us. Like his message to everyone was, even I'm in Hatzalah, and the Hatzalah all over the world, they said that they probably deal with 2,000 people a day, 2,000 people a day by volunteers doing this. And he said, we give it our all, but we're also praying. When they go to get you, they're praying. And he was saying, like, we should all take upon ourselves, like with Amuna, you're going to have a lot of things in your day, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Pray about it. Even your silly thing, I need a parking spot, it's freezing cold, I can't find my gloves. Like, there's like big stories, the whole world on COVID. And then there's these little stories. And when you pray, right, with your Amuna, and you say, Hashem, I really want to believe in you, you will see miracles. You will see Hashem talk back to you in his quiet, beautiful, simple way, right? So that's what this is saying about Amuna. So I just want everyone to have a wonderful good night. And Amir Hashem, tomorrow is Shmona Esrei. We got to move forward, and I'm very excited about it. And also on Wednesday, I could not make a flyer. Did everybody notice that I was not able to? I tried my best. I went to Canva. Yeah, Rachel, maybe you'll help me after this, okay? Can you help me? Like, I'll call you right away, we'll do it. I went to Canva. I actually made the flyer, but I didn't know how to save it and I didn't know how to send it. So, but on Wednesday, Emritz Hashem Bli Neder, okay, Mrs. Hochman is speaking, but she wants your questions. Like, if you have any questions, she wants the questions. You don't have to say, she won't announce your name or anything. You just send in questions because she wants to do like a smorgasbord of Torah, of wisdom. So, people are saying, how did you believe when everything was so dark? Like, how do you believe? Any question you want. Okay, so it was on the note that I sent you, to send it to Sheila, who will talk to her mother about it. Okay, we good? We're good? Okay, wonderful. Have a good night. And Rachel, I'm calling you right now. Okay.
Thank you so much, Gail.
Thank you. If you're not here, there's no class. Thank you. Okay, bye, everybody. There you go. Oh, maybe we should